Hello and welcome to the Black Hat Bushcraft channel. Alright, so I have a little bit of a confession to make about myself today, and that is I'm kind of obsessive when it comes to my bushcrafting tools. Whether it be my knives, axes, my saws, or any other tools that I use in the woods, you can bet that if I go out on any given trip, when I get home after using those tools, one of the first things I'll do is pull them out. I'll inspect over them very closely. I'll clean them back up as clean as I can get them. I'll hone or strop any edges that need it, and I'll oil my tools back up really well, put them in their sheaths and store them until I need them again. I can be a little obsessive about it, but the benefit is whenever I need my tools, I know they're in top working order. All right, so in the course of being out today, I've utilized this knife for quite a few different tasks. Carving some green wood. I used it for fire prep, so I processed down some fat wood, which you can see that sticky sap on the back of my knife spine. That can be kind of aggravating to get off sometimes. I did use it for scraping a ferro rod, so you can see some residue there. That green sap, if you leave it on your knife, it'll put a nice patina on it. But me being a little obsessive, I tend to clean mine off really quick after I use it, and that's part of why my knife is always looking shiny and looks new. This knife has been used extensively. I've used it for everything from feather sticks, carving, batoning. It's been used, no doubt, but it still looks nice and new, and that's just because of the way I take care of it. So I'm going to show you the easiest and quickest way I found to get all this residue off, especially that pine sap. It's very simple. All right, one of the first things that I often touch my knife up with once I get home is a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Especially if you've been processing fat wood, when that sap gets on the back of your knife, it can be really difficult to get that stuff off. Rubbing alcohol will take it right off with very little effort. Just dab a little alcohol on the cloth. You can see if I take the dry rag and wipe, the stuff doesn't really come off well. But if I take the alcohol and touch it up, you can see it just wipes right off. It takes that sticky sap right off the spine of your knife. Now, some people may not care that that stuff is on there. It just doesn't hurt anything really. But again, that's just, for me, I like to keep my knife nice and shiny, keep everything in top working order. Got a little bit of it collected here on the side. Just dab some alcohol right on the blade. You can see that bevel just starting to shine right up. All right, so you can see here that after just a minute or so of using that rubbing alcohol, this knife looks like a new knife again. I've got all that residue off the spine and off the blade. Those mirror polished bevels are showing off there a little bit. So very little effort to get my knife back to almost new looking condition. All right, once I have this knife nice and clean and I've gotten all that residue and everything off and I can see the metal real good, I like to get into good light. Sunlight is perfect, so that way I can inspect the edge really closely and look for any little nicks or rolls or anything like that in the blade. And right now this one looks really good. I'll also take my finger and just kind of trace down the length of the blade from the belly all the way to the tip here and just make sure that it feels, you know, what I expect it to be, hair shaven sharp. And this knife is in perfect working order right now. If I put it on my thumbnail, it just bites right into the thumbnail all the way up to the tip. You can see where I've checked it already. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, if there were any nicks or rolls or things like that, then I'll know that I'm going to need to spend some more time doing some serious knife maintenance. But for me, that is very, very rare. I try not to abuse my knives, and I try to maintain them every time I use them, so therefore the job is always a very light task. If the knife is not as sharp as I expect it to be, I'll just simply take a paddle strop like this. And this being a true Scandi grind, I prefer a paddle over a belt strop or a barber strop because it just helps maintain that true Scandi bevel, that zero grind on it. But what I'll do is I'll touch it up 5 times on one side. So I'll go through that 5 times and I'll flip it over and do 5 times on the other side. After that, I'll come back and do 4 times and 4 more on the other side. 3, 3, 2, and 2. And now the last one, I'm going to make 10 single strokes flipping every time, which is 5 single strokes per side. And usually that's going to bring my knife to just hair popping sharp again. which is the way I like for it to be. So the maintenance to keep my knife razor sharp is very simple. Just keep it clean, keep it honed. The last thing is keep it oiled. I know that different people have lots of different preferences when it comes to what to oil your blades with. For me, I really like using mineral oil. Number one, mineral oil is widely available, so you can pick it up in any pharmacy basically in the country. Or a lot of places like Walmart, you can easily find this stuff, and it's very cost effective. So a couple of bucks will get you a bottle like this, and it lasts for a very long time. I've had this one for over a year. Mineral oil is also food safe, so if you're processing your food with your bushcraft knife or processing game, you don't have to worry about the oil being toxic if it should get into your system. And for me personally, I just like the way the oil sticks to the knife. It's a thicker oil, and it's fantastic for wood. So if you put it on your knife scales or your axe handles and things like that, mineral oil is excellent for helping to preserve those things also. So I like to just carefully apply a coat of oil liberally all over the knife, the scales, especially paying attention to where the metal and the wood come together. Any problem areas that may come from moisture or things like that. And that's it. You can see it looks really nice, shines the knife up good. Now that I have a nice light coat of oil applied over my entire knife, I'll place the knife into the sheath. Over time, the oil will accumulate inside the leather of the sheath, and that's good for the sheath, one, because it'll prevent the leather from drying out, but each time I place my knife into the sheath, a light coat of oil will be applied to it, and that's good to help deter moisture and prevent rusting and things like that over the long haul. All right, so you can see just how simple it really is to take that extra 3 to 5 minutes at the end of your trip to go over your tools, whether it be your knife or your axe, whatever tools you've used, and keep those things in top working order. Keep them looking and performing like new tools for the long haul. Of course, for me, I'm just a little obsessive about it, but my knives are like my top prized possessions. Of course, in my axes, and my saws, and my tarps, and my packs. I guess I'm just a gear junkie. Anyway, I appreciate you guys' interest. I appreciate your support. I hope that you will come back to the Black Hat Bushcraft channel often, and I definitely will be talking to you with another video as soon as possible. Until that one, take care, and God bless.